This session will look at how to end your course at the end of a semester, how you can take care of the various activities that need to be done, and then prepare to begin the next semester. This session is part of several sessions that we've provided documentation in Canvas for you to have access to. If in your course list, if you go to courses, scroll down might be depending on the number of courses that you have, click on all courses. In the upper right corner you see an option that says browse more courses. If you will click that, there are various options displayed. The session today will be part of what we call Changing Semesters in Canvas. If you open this up, it will provide various links, resources to many of the items that we cover today in a much more detailed process. So let's start with, how do I bring the semester to an end? Let's pick a course. I will take this as an example. This is a functioning course. The key thing is being aware of the end date. If I go to settings and click on settings, course detail tab is chosen at the top. I scroll down to where I see the end date of the term. We have made the decision to extend each course term by 21 days. This will allow people to complete various activities beyond the actual end of the term date. The course itself is closed based on the date. For example, here this says January the 3rd. At this point in time, January 3rd at 12 a.m., this course becomes locked. You cannot go in and do any changes. Students cannot do any submissions. They have the ability to see it based on options that you select. You have the ability to go in and look at various resources, but you cannot do any editing. We would describe this as a read-only option. Now, there is another choice below the various dates, specifically the start and end dates, where it's the option that says users can only participate in the course between these dates. If that is checked, then you have the boundaries of the beginning date and the end date to which they can go in. This comes into play at several key points. When do you want your students to stop being able to submit work? When do you as an instructor need to be able to continue to do activities such as calculating grades, dealing with students that have incompletes, things of that type? As long as this date has not been reached, you're okay to do whatever you need to do. If this date is reached and you still need to have access to the course, you will need to initiate a request on the Lipscomb Help Desk to have the Canvas administrator go in and change the date to where you can then get back into the course. You do not have the ability, once the course is closed, to change the date. Now, prior to the point in time that it is closed, you can adjust the date that is appropriate to help you support what you need to do to complete various course activities. Again, most often the questions related to this are having a student that has an incomplete, or allowing students to get back in and have access to various items somewhere in the future beyond the completion of the course. So please be aware, the course end date is a significant factor that can impact what you need to do and also what your students need to do. At the end of the term also, one of the things that comes into play is the grade book and course submissions that students have not done. If you have a class in which students have not submitted work for a specific activity, a blank cell is not calculated as a 0. It is ignored. It's like it does not exist. So if you want to assign a value to be calculated as part of the total class, you must enter zeros within those specific cells. Now, Canvas provides the option to go in and do what is called put zeros in the cells. Please understand this is somewhat misleading. It is confusing. You cannot go in and choose the option off of the grade book to say put in the zeros, and it put the zeros in there for you and they stay as part of the calculations. It is provided as an option for you to see how it would affect if you put the zeros in. These are strictly viewable to you. It does not change the grade for the student from no submission to a 0. So please understand, any cell that a student fails to do the work, fails to submit the work, however way you wish to describe it, if they do not submit something and you are to assign a 0, you must manually enter the 0 within that cell. If you wish to exempt a student from some type of activity, you have the option to go into the cell and enter an EX. Again, an EX will tell Canvas, do not use this cell to do any kind of calculations. So basically there are pretty much 3 options. The actual value that is assigned for a submission, whether it's a 95, an 84, 100, whatever it might be, that's one option. Another option would be a blank, and that blank means do not use this in the calculation. It has not been submitted, and that's subject to having a 0 entered at your discretion. The third option is to exempt the activity by entering the EX. At the end of the term, every cell in the grade book for anything that you're wishing to do a calculation on should have some type of symbolism in there. A number, EX. Blank cells can create confusion, not only for the student, but also for the instructor. So please be aware of that. One other item relating to the grade book is the fact of muting. If you choose the option to mute a column, all you're doing is hiding that column from the students to be able to see the grade in that column. The best example for this type of activity would be, say you have a class of 40 students, 50 students, whatever it might be. You can mute the column and enter all the grades and then make those grades available with one click by unmuting the column. If you have a large class and a student has their notifications set up to be notified whenever they have a grade submitted from Canvas, then they may see that information, tell one of the other students who might happen to be toward the bottom of the alphabet, and now you have that student contacting you wanting to know, where is my grade, what's the deal? So be aware, the mute option allows you to hide the grades until you're ready to release those grades that are within that column. Also, any column that is muted does not have any effect on any other calculation within the grade book. So if you mute a column, it's basically like it does not exist in any of the calculations or is viewable by the students. The world of bringing the grade book out into Excel, for example, you have the option within the grade book to choose the option to export. If you export it, you bring it into Excel, you can do whatever you wish to do. You can do various calculations, you can play what ifs, those type of situations. Next item on completing the end of the term. Do you wish to back up your course? We currently do not have any plans in the foreseeable future to remove any courses that are currently in Canvas. In Blackboard, we had removed various courses because of demands of storage. We have a lot more flexibility in the storage options now in Canvas. So the fall courses, it is I envision that these courses will probably be available for the next year or so. We don't have a plan in place right now to remove them. So you will still have the ability to access any course in the next few semesters. We have the courses that we brought over from Blackboard that go from the summer of 17, the fall of 17, the spring of 18. We now have Canvas courses from the summer of 18, the fall of 18. So these are all available to you to pull resources that you need for your use in future courses. Also, if you have a class that was delivered in Blackboard prior to the summer of 17, then we have backups of those courses and we can get those into Canvas. If you need access to any type of a course from Blackboard, and our backups go to somewhere around 2010, you initiate a request to the help desk with specific information, the name of the course, when it was offered, the CRN, things like that, and the backup can be retrieved and we can help you access the materials that are there that are the work that you created. Now, accessing student grades from these earlier courses becomes more of a challenge. That's a totally different situation. In this context, we're only talking about accessing resources that you have created for you to use within your courses. In summary, let me go back and remind you, the key thing as you end your term is to be aware, are there needs for you to actually get in there and edit material after the end date? Then you must consider what the appropriate end date is. Currently, we, by default, will make it 21 days from the end of the term. If you need further extensions, you can make the change yourself from the settings menu. If you have situations where it is closed and you need to get back in after that, then you're encouraged to please contact through the help desk requesting that you have access to it.